Hello and welcome back to 10 out of 10 Mood Watch Again with Lauren and Ross.
Hello.
This week we thought we'd give you a wee curveball and we'd do one of our / mostly Ross's favourite animated movies, Basil, Great Mouse Detective.
Oh yeah.
We also wanted to just say a really quick thank you to everyone who's been sharing our Instagram, Spotify, YouTube page, all that good stuff. Yous have proper gave us that Sally Fields you really like me moment, so thank you so much. You've warmed our wee cockles.
Oh aye.
Anyway, crack on, Ross.
So this was released in July 1986. It's based on the book Basil of Baker Street by Eve Titus, and voices are Vincent Price as Rattigan, Barry Ingham as Basil, a guy Val Betting as Dawson, and a shout out to Basil Rathbone. They used his recordings from a 1966 radio play, The Red-Headed League.
Nice.
Cool. And another shout out for a guy Alan Young, who was Scrooge McDuck for 40 years, as Daddy Flaversham.
There we go, sorted.
Fucking laddie da. The budget of 14 million and a box office of 38.7 million.
Holy shit.
But that was quite a lot of money for 1986.
Yeah, and for an animated movie. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
General overview of the film, it's just Sherlock Holmes with mice and some quite questionable Scottish accents.
The animals, aye. Give you that one.
So why do you love this film?
I mean, growing up, this movie has everything you want in a good adventure movie.
Yep.
I mean, even as an adult, it has a bit of mystery, adventure, intrigue, and a lot of the older, a bit of peril in it.
Oh, aye.
This movie isn't afraid to get dark.
No.
And it does them all well, so I mean, just a good movie.
No, 100%. I'm the same as you. I remember loving this movie when I was a kid, and then even now, if you and me are do you want just a pure brainless movie day? We always stick this on, or do you know what I mean? This is always one of the first animated movies that comes to us, and it holds up because we had. So my oldest niece is 10, and she loved it. It really held up. Do you know what I mean? I was kind of expecting them to get a bit bored, but it obviously holds up, and it's an hour and 20 minutes of just boom, boom, boom. Do you know what I mean?
All in all, it's an hour 14, so it doesn't have time to add a lot of filler.
No.
This movie's a lot. It's a lot of big scenes.
Yep.
It's enough to keep you entertained, even though it is so short. And I don't know, because a lot of them we were watching at a time, Black Cauldron and Sword in the Stone and that. Obviously, they were.
They were before our time, but obviously we were kids. Do you know what I mean?
I think Black Cauldron was 85 the year before this.
I have so
20.
much beef with that movie.
Yeah, so they don't obviously it must have just been for the animation and all that.
Yeah.
They couldn't make 2.5 hour movies like they do now.
Oh, 100%.
But, as you say, it's just one scene, then the next big scene, then the next big scene. They can't afford to add a lot of filler.
Yeah. Right, we'll dive straight into thoughts and opinions, right? I think this movie is such a good introduction to Sherlock Holmes for kids. Do you know what I mean? Obviously as a Wayne, you're not exactly going to know who Sherlock Holmes is, but this is your springboard into if you like Basil, let's have a swatch at this, because I know that's what my dad did with me. I liked Basil, so my dad then showed me the Basil Rathbone, Christopher Lee, Hounds of the Baskervilles, and that kind of stuff, and then obviously when we were teenagers, the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmeses came out, which controversial. I liked them.
They were alright.
They're still alright.
They're alright movies. I mean, this has it all for a Sherlock movie, all his deductions, all his mad experiments and all that. The big main villain, the overall big bad guy.
Man.
The mad dastardly plans and all the ins and outs of the plans and that.
And
explains.
There's so many obviously for this being a Sherlock Holmes, not rip-off, but there's so many references to Sherlock Holmes in this. You've got your Reichenbach Falls, you've got your hounds, you've got all, and then the last mouse, the next mouse who comes in with a problem, that's the next Sherlock Holmes book. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's obviously in the cartoon it says it's an emerald ring, but I'm sure the book is a ruby necklace or something like that. But do you know what I mean? I always think as well, see when you watch older Disney movies, you were saying this, Sword in the Stone, Robin Hood, all that kind of stuff, there's just this beautiful charm to them because people have been drawing and painting the clappers, do you know what I mean, to make it all beautiful. And even things of like, you know what book he's going to grab from the shelf because it's painted lighter than the rest of them and stuff. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, not that they don't work hard now. Like,
No, obviously,
but it's just it's a different style. Like having it all hand drawn. Although I believe this was one of the first to have CGI.
I've got that in useless information.
But like, even all the old ones, the hand drawn stuff, and you know the effort that took. As I say, it's not like obviously they work hard now, but like
it's
the manpower.
It's a completely different format now. Do you know what I mean? Like now, it's obviously I'm not shitting on what they do now, but it's all like different kind of programming and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, somebody needs to like come up with the concepts and stuff, but it's refined in a computer. Whereas, like obviously back then, it was like, here is this painstaking drawing that I've like flipped through, and there you go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like the effort, like thinking of the amount of manpower it takes just to even draw a scene for that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised they could get as many movies out as they could.
Oh, totally. And it's even like bits, like in this one, our Daz mustache changes like 10 different orange shades. But it, like, again, that totally adds to it. Do you know what I mean? And I think as well, I mean, I don't know so much now, but like definitely, and again, this is just obviously that nostalgia, the member berries, but it's like all the cartoons are kind of voiced by the same group of people.
Yeah.
So like you'll hear a voice in Basil and you'll be like, oh, he was Smee and Peter Pan and la la la. Do you know what I mean? And your man who voices Radcliffe and Pocahontas, he's like 10 different guys. Yeah. And like Winnie the Pooh is also the snake in Robin Hood and the snake in Jungle Book and all that kind of stuff. So it's always like, I would never know these actors' faces, but as soon as I hear their voice, I could rhyme you off of the 10 movies that they're in. Also, just shout out to cartoons, smoking and drinking. Like,
not enough of that anymore.
You never see that in Inside Out, do you know what I mean? Like, I nearly called it Upside Down there, not Inside Out.
That's the thing, this movie, Rattigan, who's the nemesis, like he's the Moriarty, if you will, of bloody Sherlock Holmes, the equivalent of
Mouse Holmes.
And it's that he's such a cool, like he's one of the most memorable bad guys for me.
Yep.
It's like he has like this, I think it's just Vincent Price's voice as well. It's like a campy charm.
100%. I literally had that as well. Like, is Rattigan like a super underrated Disney villain? Do you know what I mean? Because he's a bastard. Do you know what I mean? Like,
he has this charm, like campiness and like just a bad guyness about him, if you know what I mean.
Like mega villain.
But you know, underneath all that, it's like there's this menacing, right, evil bastard.
And that comes out at the end, like when he goes full rat on Big Ben and the claws come out and like
you can tell it's always there.
Exactly. As soon as the suit is like shredded, he's like, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
but I think with that, then obviously we Fidget,
I hate that wee bastard.
But for him, like just being a wee sidekick, he's in all the memorable scenes.
Yep.
Like,
and he's a menacing wee fucker too.
Like the first scene, like as I said, this is a movie full of big scenes, and as soon as you get into this movie, it's Fidget kidnapping Olivia's dad. I think it was Haim or something. His name was something Flaversham, and like he busts through the door, and he just he peeks out. It's like lightning and all that, and it's weird how they could. Like, it was scary. See, as a kid, man. Like that was terrifying.
I genuinely have a whole section on this, and we'll get into this right bloody now, right? Yeah. So obviously, like what you're saying, like obviously Rattigan is like a big menacing bastard, and so is wee Fidget, right? Like, I feel like Disney movies I don't know if they're too afraid, but like there's not like scares anymore the way it was when we were kids. Like when we were younger, like these movies were like out for your weave. Do you know what I mean? Like Black Cauldron. Don't fucking speak to me about that. Like, I swear to God, the Horn King from Black Cauldron is just childhood trauma. Like, do you know what I mean? So you had like Black Cauldron, Scar from Lion King. There was always like a right menacing mega villain. Like Frollo, Hunchback of Notre Dame. Hunchback of Notre Dame in general, to be honest, that is a dark film. Like with the lava coming out the gargoyles at the end and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know, like obviously these days animated movies are more like touching and wholesome and we have lessons to learn, blah, 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 which is great, you know? But there's nothing really freaky about them. Do you know what I mean? Like, when we talk about movies from when we were kids, there's always like, oh, he used to give me the fear when I was a kid. Do you know what I mean?
I think nowadays they're more nuanced, and is it maybe, I don't know if it's because fucking kids are smart or whatever these days. I don't know, but it's kind of like you have to have more of a person to them, rather than obviously Rattigan, fucking rat.
He's a rat,
but
don't
like,
say it
you can still see it in him, and it's like he's just barely holding on, and as soon as some does it, like the song Rattigan,
the world's most famous rat,
and you just see it twist.
Yeah,
you don't really see that anymore.
No, I think genuinely off the top of my head, the last like villain in a Disney movie is your man from Frozen. Like, see that bit in Frozen where it's like she got hit with a blast and she's freezing, and she's like, true love's kiss will save me, and he goes in for it, and then he goes, oh, if only someone loved you. And I remember watching that like for the first time with like my nieces, and even I was like, oh, no way, like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's probably like the last one off the top of my head where I'm like, oh you bad, do you know what I mean? You're a bad guy. Yeah, like you said, obviously, like now they're more nuanced, and then it kind of these days the bad guy always kind of turns out to not be a bad guy, like Moana for
they need like a redemption thing in that nowadays.
Like Moana, as soon as Tafiti gets the heart back, she stops being a raging volcano and just turns into a lovely island queen. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like what I always miss as well is like when Disney cartoon villains had like the full like quote unquote true colours transformation. So like in this film, the suit gets ripped, the claws come out, blah blah blah. It would always be like whenever the villains were fighting, like their hair would get on, like Gaston in Beauty and the Beast, his hair's getting all unmussed and he's all like wrecked. And your man from Tarzan, he's the same. And like villains used to get a super like menacing comeuppance. Do you know what I mean? Like your man from Tarzan gets hung by the vines of a tree, and you see his swinging body.
Like they used to die.
Yeah. And like Frollo, he gets like flung off the top into the lava. Do you know what I mean? Like there was always like, I don't want to say satisfying, but there was like the bad guy always had his comeuppance. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it was always grim. Like,
they always done a lot of bad shit though. Yeah. Like I wonder what movie it would have been when Disney made the choice to change that.
Yeah. When it swayed, when it changed, you know what I mean? But like, no, totally, because like, do you know the thing is as well, is we were actually talking about this the other day, and I know you and me have spoken about this, so we were talking about like, kids, like we were talking about like kids movies that were creepy when you were younger, and I finally met someone else who's watched that Don't Look Under the Bed. And if anyone who's listening to this has seen that movie Don't Look Under the Bed, go and let me know, because I have thought for years that I was just tripping balls, right? So Looking Under the Bed was this like Disney Channel movie about the boogeyman, and our wee brar gets taken by the boogeyman, and then they go under the bed, and the bed's underneath the bed's all like,
that why it's called Under the Bed,
oh, shut up, right? But like it was so creepy, and like the boogeyman in that was genuinely like a kid's version of Freddy Krueger. Like that guy was so creepy. And I remember for years talking about this movie, being like, does anybody remember how terrifying this movie was? Nobody, even you. Remember, it took us ages to try and find it because I didn't know what it was called.
Oh, you were calling it the Oogie Boogie and all that fucking lot of pish.
I was pretty like, oh, this thing happened, and then you and me watched it, and you were like, this was shite, and I was like, yeah, it wasn't when you were 6. Do you know what I mean? And then the other day we were talking about it in work, and one of my pals was like, oh my God, I totally remember that movie. And I was like, you are the only other person I've met who's seen this fucking film. But do you know what I mean? Like, even like the Disney Channel originals were terrifying. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously I say terrifying in the loosest sense of the word, because
being a kid, it was terrifying.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so like, I think like this has just been a pure tangent of being like Disney going to bring back some super villains. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, it's kind of the thing. Do you obviously now Disney make 100 bajillion million every time they just look at a wallet.
Yeah.
So how? I will need to look it up. We'll bring it up for the next one when they sanitised it.
Yeah.
Not even sanitised. I suppose with the better animation and all that, and because some of it is unreal now what they can do. Oh my
God.
Could you make something that is like vulgar as Rattigan or even Fidget, and put that into something now.
Yeah.
Because how crazy, like, gnarly could it be?
Would it almost be like too realistic though? Do you know what I mean? Because obviously, like, right now with Disney, like, you can see every strand of hair on their head. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember when Monsters Inc. came out, and I remember my dad being like, wow, like you can see every strand of hair.
Yeah.
And then we watched Monsters Inc. not that long ago, and we were like, oh, that's like, I mean, it still looks good.
Yeah,
but
it looks
like,
great, but
now,
it's advanced so much, even in that space of time.
I always remember my dad at the time being like, wow, you could see his hair. And then now I'm like, oh, that's not. But then obviously, what a privilege to be able to be like, oh, that's not that.
You're saying it's shit when it's still great.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I wonder. Like, I'm not saying like obviously Disney's always been like a family brand, obviously, right? But I feel like now Disney's kind of becoming its own mega villain, if you know what I mean, because it's buying everything.
Oh, fuck it.
And like it's more about like superheroes and all this kind of thing. And I think it's great, like what they're doing now. Obviously, like every kind of movie has that message for like wee lassies and wee boys of like, you can do it, kids, and all that. And then you've got movies like Inside Out, which obviously helps kids be like, I feel like this because of this. And if that's what it, and do you know what I mean? Like, but I don't want that. Like, I don't want these self-aware little kids. I want them to be traumatized the way we were traumatized.
Yeah, they're quite bland and beige now. Another thing I was thinking of as I was watching this movie, obviously this was a kid's book written by Eve Titus.
Yep.
Like, I think there's 7 of them. I'm surprised they never made any more.
Yeah.
But do you think it was because a lot of them were done from classic fairy tales? Like, a lot of Disney stuff, and a lot of obviously a lot of it's for books.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's why, like, obviously they couldn't go as dark as some of the true real life stories, like real life stories, the stories that are written.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they will keep bits of it, but now because they're making their own stuff, you're like, right, we can't. How do you come up with something sick and say we're going to give it to kids?
Yeah, totally.
Like, it's a bit weird.
That's the thing as well. Is like even like the ones that you're saying that came from like, God, what a tangent we're on. Even the ones that came from like fairy tales, they're obviously heavily sanitized, like for the Disney ones. Do you know what I mean? Because when you go back and you look at all the proper old school ones, and it's like The Little Mermaid, the actual book, horrific, horrific, and like Sleeping Beauty as well. Do you know what I mean? Horrific, but like obviously like they had to sanitize them. But when I say sanitized, I mean like, you know, they left out the fact that like Ariel turns to foam and some dodgy things happen to Sleeping Beauty, do you know what I mean?
Beauty,
and like Rapunzel, some shoddy things happen to her as well. So it's like, yeah, they took out the actual grim bits, but they still gave us like super villains, do you know what I mean? Like Maleficent's a bad bitch. Like take out the Angelina Jolie version, like the actual straight up cartoons. Bad guys in them were fucking mental, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think I'm just bitter because like we're bloody traumatized from like the Lion King and all this stuff, and like our nieces and nephews are like, it's alright. Like, what?
Yeah, the movies are great.
I remember saying that to my nieces. I was like, oh, the Black Cauldron's the scariest thing you're ever going to watch. And then I watched it with them and they were like, that was really boring. And I was like, are you joking? Like, that movie used to make me cry so much as a kid. Like, I remember when we started going out and I was telling you all about the Black Cauldron, how horrific it was, and you were like, Lauren, it was never that bad. And I'm like, it was horrible. I
thought that just because Rattigan's a good villain.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Tore it to Disney for no reason.
100%. That's about 20 minutes of our podcast. Talking shit about that.
We'll end it here then.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. See you next week. Kidding on. Don't you unpause this right now. I was gonna say, like, obviously you were saying, like, this whole movie is like big massive scenes, right? See that toy shop scene where like Fidget the Bat's like stealing all the uniforms and stuff, but like that one scene is just class. Like, see the way they use toys to like aid them in their mission. Like obviously Fidget's throwing like marbles to try and keep them down, like he's darting Dawson. Basil's got the bouncing horse to try and keep up with him. There's your Reichenbach Falls moment on like the building blocks. Do you know what I mean? It's just I will always have a soft spot in movies like, see, like this and like Toy Story and all that kind of stuff, where they use like normal things and like it becomes this whole like battleground. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, it's really clever how they done it.
Totally. And I'll always have a soft spot for animated movies when it's like when it uses like landmarks, if you know what I mean, like see even when like Peter Pan's going by like Big Ben and all this kind of stuff. But see as well when it's like wee things, like obviously like these are all mice and it's all like how mice like work their way about, like see even in Rescuers,
how you have to,
like Rescuers, their meeting room, their bed is like a tin of sardines and all that kind of stuff. Like I have such a soft spot for all that kind of stuff.
You even see it in, so you're talking about the toy shop scene, but the scene where Rattigan lures him out of the trap.
Yes.
It's like it has the music's going to play, the corkscrew's going to do this. Then it turns out a big fucking axe is going to chop them or something.
Yeah.
But it's good to see. As I'm the same as you. See, like when they use when
commonplace things.
Well, animals are using human, or animals are doing or using human things.
Yes.
Like it just, I don't know, it just tickles my brain.
That's it, 100%. It just strokes that wee nice part of your brain. Like I'll pure, oh no, don't. I just pure love stuff like that, like Rescuers, Toy Story, all that kind of stuff. When it's like you see them all stoating through, and it's like, or like when the bit in Toy Story where like the wee car is like going down the main road and it's like scooting in amongst all the wheels and
doing the rocket, using the rocket and all that to fly.
100%. As well, just I feel like this movie is really grounded in its time, because when the Queen meets the robot Queen and there's the cord coming out the back of her, then it really grounds it in that if your extension cord was still long enough, you weren't going very far. Do you know what I mean?
I suppose even at those, it's based in that time. Was it then in the 80s? Not a lot of wireless shit cutting about.
Nah,
do you know what I mean?
Man,
you wouldn't have wireless robots.
If they remade like Basil, Great Mouse Detective now, it'd be like a Bluetooth. Like,
it would be. I'd be controlling it for a fucking bunker 100 mile away.
100%. 100%. Oh, have you got anything else or thoughts about?
I've just got stuff about like the big scenes, because that's just the one that like this movie just reminds me of. They're also memorable. So we've been through obviously the toy shop. Where it's the chase part and all that. The final fight.
Oh, so good.
Yes, like even from the bit, is it like a matchbox thing he's got on? Like the cycle thing? But it's all built, it's just fucking built with random stuff.
Yeah.
And it's that, and the then how you just see him slowly turning. Then obviously pure fidget gets fucked up.
Fuck fidget.
Like that's a shame.
Fuck that wee dick.
We need to lower it. No. Like lessen the load. He gets tossed to fuck.
No, fuck him good. He deserves it.
But I like that. The big bench scene looks great when you go inside and you see all the cogs and all that.
So good.
Then obviously it's the final fight between them.
Yeah.
Like
it holds up, do you know what I mean? There's still that like level of drama. For an animated kids movie, you're pure like, oh my god, do you know what I mean?
That is a tense part.
Yeah, man.
Like, see the first time watching it, I was a kid, I don't remember like that well the first time.
Yeah.
But holy shit, he has just killed Basil.
Yeah, I can imagine you being like being a wee kid, just pure going after your nut. Yeah. Because you're bad enough now as an adult. Like,
do you even get it? Like when they're fighting and it's a ticking clock going on. And you're like, shit, this is really intense. Like you're sitting there like, what the fuck's going to happen here?
6-year-old you's mind must have just fucking blown.
Like honestly, man, I must have been emotional. Like that's all I can think of.
I could just your mum pure, you alright? You're pure welling up like, oh Basil.
Like just that. Then also we spoke about Rattigan's lair. Like,
love Rattigan's
the theatrics of him is just stunning.
Yes.
Like that's why I would say he's memorable to me. It's just all the scenes that there's always something in and you're like, fuck, even I don't know how you could forget it.
No,
in my opinion.
Totally. I think that's the thing that makes a good like Disney mega villain though, is like there has to be that kind of theatric camp to it.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? Like Rattigan, Hades from Hercules, Frollo from Jack and Notre Dame, like they're just coming off the top of my head, but like that's the three that I'd be like, yeah, they're like, because they've got that level of like, oh darling, do you know what I mean? Like,
I think that Vincent Price, like especially James Wood and that and Hercules, like it's the acting, like the voice acting for it, because they are like fucking Vincent Price is one of the most hammiest people.
100%.
And look at all the stuff he's done.
Yeah, totally.
And it's just brilliant and like really brings Rattigan to life for me.
Totally. Well, I've got some stuff about that in useless information as well that they like took straight from him and put on Rattigan. Yeah,
I've got everything for mine. It's just the scenes for me I
love that.
Like just as I say, I know 14 Disney fuck about. There's no real bitch can be like, I could do without that because you wouldn't have a movie then.
Yeah. I wish people could like see the wee look on your face right now because you've just got this pure wee buzzing face. Oh, I love that for you, Ross. Was this and Dumbo were your childhood ones, wasn't it?
Dumbo, apparently so, aye.
Are you not fucked about Dumbo anymore, no?
I've not seen it in
Basil's
fucking years.
holding it
Aye,
tight.
no, Basil's the only one I can really... That and the Rescuers, I like the Rescuers.
Rescuers is so good.
I don't like the second one, but I like the first one.
Rescuers was one of those ones, see, when I was a kid and I used to go stay at my auntie's, like, she only had like a couple of VHSs, and it was like both Rescuers. I think it was like The Return of Jafar, and like, do you know what I mean? And she had like a Christmas Beauty and the Beast one, and that was like the only videos that were at my auntie's house. And the Rescuers just pure reminds me of like sitting on her wee couch and all that. Like, yeah. Right, we'll dive into favourite scene before we just go on our fucking tangent. So my favourite scene, it's got to be the Rattigan song for me. It's got to be like that. Just makes my wee musical theatre heart sing. Like, and then even like the turn, like when they're all in the middle, and then obviously your wee pushed mouse is like, everyone's favourite rat, and then the big fat Felicia comes along and all that. And then as soon as he's found out her, he's like, you were staying, and it's like, yes, here we go.
So I've went for the kidnapping scene. Obviously,
at the very start.
straight away, it kind of sets the tone for the movie.
Absolutely.
Like obviously this is a kids movie, but like, it's dark and it's like Bridget's just creepy. He's like almost the opposite of Rattigan, just purely for the fact that Rattigan's like well spoken, well dressed, when he's kind of your normal, like he's just your normal grunt guy, like, fuck, I don't even like just your normal idiot commoner. And it's funny how like you go for him, then he's like, oh fuck, he must be the bad guy, he's kidnapped. Then you see the fucking the big boss, you're like, holy shit. But it's the bit where it's she hides in the cupboard and all that, and he fucking does it. I'm like, oh man.
And you can like see all the stuff bouncing off the cupboard doors and that. Yeah.
It's fucking wild.
Aye,
like,
man.
What a movie, man. What a movie.
You're such a happy boy.
Oh.
I don't know what your face is happier on, this or when we did Big Lebowski.
Oh god, aye.
Do you want me to dive into useful information?
Aye, go for it.
You'll like some of these, by the way. So Vincent Price had always said that he wanted to voice a Disney character, and obviously Rattigan was like his dream come true. But the animators loved his performance in the booth so much that they would like draw his like over dramatic hand movements and like the hands on the waist and all this kind of thing. So he was just recording his voice acting out, and all the animators at the side like that, pure rapid drawing. And obviously that was supposed to be Rattigan. Rattigan originally was drawn as this like weak, scrawny rat, basically. But then obviously Vincent Price brought such this gusto to it. Gusto.
I don't think you get Vincent Price and not expect it though, because I mean I haven't seen a lot of Vincent Price, but from what I've seen, and is it like he's playing to the back?
The man, the man's a big ham. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He's playing to the back. 100%. The clock tower scene with Rattigan versus Basil was the first major use of computer animation in a feature-length animated film. At the time, obviously, so go on yourself. This is also one of the few Disney movies that takes place in a single night. Now, I tried to look up what other ones, but Google was of no help. Google was just hitting me with like, it comes at night and all that, and I'm like, that's not what I asked. So we'll see if we can like think of them, like, or like we'll report back next week. But so far, even if you know, leave us a comment on Instagram or YouTube now, guys. Let us know. Bill the Lizard Henchman is also featured in Alice in Wonderland. He like runs about painting all the roses red. Alice in Wonderland was one I was never fucked about as a kid. Like, I genuinely think I've only seen Alice in Wonderland like a handful of times in my life. I was just never bored about it.
No, it's not one I'm
Cinderella. That and Cinderella, I was never arsed.
I've seen that a lot, but I've not one I would go to.
Nah.
A lot of the older ones, like the first ones in it, it's mostly when it got into like the early 80s on up that I started really enjoying them.
Aye, of course. The scene where Basil and Dawson are in the bar for the cabaret show, actually listen to the words that are about to come out my mouth, right? This scene was almost cut because censors thought the scene was too risky for child audiences.
80s.
Ross, We literally watched a terrifying rat kidnap a lassie. You've got a mad rat villain trying to murder Basil, but a mouse in a garter is too much. Like, what? What the fuck are the priorities? Like, I suppose, again, that is a super 80s thing, do you know what I mean? Of, like, be as violent as possible, but don't have any sex. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. I mean, a kid's going to see, like, a fidget, a bat stealing
Horrific.
that, but they're not going to look at what's sex.
Yeah. You're not looking at that mouse and doing the can and being like, oh, that's clearly supposed to be suggestible. Do you know what I mean?
No,
or maybe
it's
just us.
It's a bit of a stretch. Fuck that.
When
Get
I
that to
read
fuck.
that, I was like, are you fucking joking?
Yeah, that's pish. Gotta call pish on that.
100%. John Cleese was the original voice of Basil, but had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts. I couldn't find what the scheduling conflicts were. But again, when anybody says scheduling conflicts, I'm like, what was the real reason? But,
Yeah,
do you know
why,
what I mean? Like,
why would you
do you just
agree
not
to it
like
if you couldn't
people?
do it? Yeah.
Aye, 100%.
Probably not paying him enough money. He's a bit of a money grabber. Isn't he?
Aye, yes, aye. This one as well, I was flabbergasted at, right? So the song Let Me Be Good to You was originally supposed to be sung by Madonna, right?
Oh, God.
But producers decided she was not contemporary enough for audiences. So Madonna in 1986 was not contemporary. So they went to Liza Minnelli. Liza fucking Minnelli. Liza said no. So then they settled on Melissa Manchester, right? Now, I looked up, who gives a fuck, Ross? I looked it up what Madonna was up to in 1986. True Blue, Papa Don't Preach, Open Your Heart, 3 instant bangers, do you know what I mean? Like the True Blue album alone, like Madonna was the shit, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
like from what I would view as Madonna being the shit. But who the fuck am I?
What do they mean by contemporary though? That she's not modern enough,
That's
not
what
famous
I took it
enough?
as. I never took it as famous, I took it as like modern enough.
I mean,
which is why I was like, if Madonna in 1986 is not modern enough, why the fuck are you going to Liza Minnelli? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I suppose
Liza's
at the
Liza,
time,
but
at the 80s, I mean, but then Madonna's been about since 79. So how...
And still continues to this day.
Yeah, she drinks the blood of babies now, that's fine. Regardless of that. That's a weird one. I mean, obviously we weren't about, so maybe the hype wasn't...
Yeah,
Madonna wouldn't have made sense anyway. It's a UK film, not a UK film, but...
Yeah, it's set in London.
Yeah, why would an American mouse be over to do a show in a pub, like in a dingy, like, hovel?
Yeah.
No, I'm glad.
You could have Madonna doing 40 years of hits, do you know what I mean?
I'm glad she didn't get it, but not for the reason that, I mean, obviously 86, don't have a clue. So it could have been a multitude of reasons.
I love Madonna, but like my sisters who were around for Madonna was like, no, she wasn't a big deal till it got to like whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, she was always one that fell in and out of favour.
Yeah, that seems a bit strange because all you hear about is it, right?
Do you know what I mean? 40 years of hits. Anyway, will we dive in 80?
Aye, go for it.
I've not got a lot, but what I do have is so stupid, right?
Yeah.
So, know how Rattigan is obviously heavy raging when people think he's a rat and he tries really hard to just be a big mouse? See the lizard henchman? Do you think he thinks he's a mouse? Or do you think he's just like, I'm a lizard cutting about with mice? I've stumped you now.
I just think maybe he's a stupid henchman. Like, if Rattigan tells him to do something, you're a mouse there, a rat, is it? Okay.
Henchman must have no autonomy, must be mouse.
Probably too fair to say it to him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was just watching it there and I was just like, do you think that lizard knows he's a lizard, or do you think that lizard's kidding on he's a mouse? Like, what kind of body dysmorphia is going on here? Do you know what I mean?
Probably just pissed all the time for no caring, fuck's sake.
That's how Rattigan's fucking henchmen are doing, ever. He just keeps getting them pissed in like the champagne fountains and that.
Aye, it's the only way to keep them. That and the fear of getting eaten with a cat.
No, aye, well, that's true.
Aye.
I also had, how did no one clock that the Queen was a robot? Like, you saw the chord and the voice and the... Like, not one mouse clocked. Not one.
Suppose if you've never seen the Queen before, who's to say that she doesn't look like it?
Ooh, poor minute.
Aye.
Have you got any?
Yeah, right. Do you think Sherlock Holmes knows about Basil?
Right, okay, this links in with something I was going to say, right? But also, do you think Sherlock Holmes knows about Basil? Like, that's the team-up movie you need.
I mean,
well, I mean, you would
that'd be a very weird one, but
listen.
go
I'd
for it.
watch it. Do you know what I mean? So that kind of ties into my next one. I was leaving it till the end, but I had like, how do you think mouse activities affect the human world? Well, obviously Basil lives in Sherlock Holmes's skirting board, and like the mouse queen lives in the gardens of Buckingham Palace. And obviously when they were fighting in Big Ben, they're like fucking up the gears and pulling chains and the hands and stuff like that.
That's what I've got here. See the people that fix Big Ben? What do they think happened? You'd have seen the little flying machine.
Yep. Like, but it to be about that, I don't know why I'm saying that people can't see, but it
as you can see for the podcast, I've got my fingers up. But then, what the fuck? Like, how did rats get up here?
100%.
And what is this little thing doing here?
Yeah, totally. That was what I was thinking the whole time. But like, I mean, people who have had mice in their home seem to know that there's mice in their home. Like, you hear all the squeaks and all that stuff.
Yeah, but the top of Big Ben?
I'm talking about in Sherlock's house.
Aye, Sherlock.
But like, no, Big Ben.
I imagine he knows it and he's just not fucking. I'll leave him to it. He's fine.
Wee man's sorting out the mouse community. Do you know what I mean? Don't worry about it. 100%.
It'll be a good source of information for him. You know what Sherlock's like? He knows every cunt.
100%. I leaves a bit of cheese as long as like Basil hits some of the good stuff.
But then maybe firing the gun and all that. What noise do you think the gun makes?
Oh yeah. I like in Basil it's like a boom, but like all you hear is like a or something like ding. Yeah. Like what the fuck was that?
Fucking rap it, Basil. Play the violin here.
Like see the fact that the Mouse Queen lives in like Buckingham Palace gardens, like in that big rose bush. Like, what about the corgis? Like the corgis just running about Buckingham Palace. Like, I'm going to get that fucker the day.
I want to see the movie where the exterminator's coming. Get your way out of this, Basil.
I had to. No. I want to see the movie of the guys that got to fix Big Ben. They're like, what the fuck is going on here?
How did this happen? Do you think that's why it's been broke all that time?
Fucking Basil, man.
Fucking Ratigan flew into it and fucking destroyed the fucker.
Basil's fucked up all the gears, pulled all the ropes and all that.
Who did they send the bounty for that?
The people of London, I'm assuming.
Oh, but see, like you see,
a mighty tax.
Sometimes it's like they'll destroy something. Is it you're paying for like superhero movies? Obviously, Sherlock's not a superhero, but
yeah.
Just a wee note at Basil's door. Oh, he can't.
You owe us tick.
You owe us so much money. And he's like, I don't even have money.
I'm a mouse, mate. Leave me alone.
What's the worst you can do to me? That's me. As I say, there's not a lot in this movie to really nitpick.
No,
I mean, how does a cat get in the sewers?
A big cat like that as well. She a chunky gal.
Aye, like that's probably the only other one. But
yeah,
cats be catting.
Listen, do you know what I mean?
Aye.
Like you find cats in the maddest places. I'm still waiting for the cat distribution system to pick us, but like,
aye. I'm wondering if it wasn't a children's book, like already also been written and drawn and all that, if they would have made Ratigan a rat, or if they would have made it a cat, because that's kind of the natural enemy of the mouse.
Yeah, of course. Here, good shout.
I wonder if Felicia could be the main baddie.
Cadigan.
And Ratigan could be the baddie, like the side. Like the sidekick.
Yeah. I like that. I'll take that. I wondered as well, like, I mean, this was also obviously made at a time where there was like no sequels, not no sequels, but like rare sequels. Do you know what I mean? Or if there were sequels, it was like straight to the bargain box.
And Disney anyway. I don't think there would have been many.
Because I remember like there was like a Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, but that was a straight in the bargain.
Just when the video came out, they decided to do the home video stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah. But like there was never anything about Basil. They just kind of left Basil untouched.
So I think I was reading it was 7, but might be less. I'm not sure. I'm surprised they never made another one. It must have just been too much effort to make, and they've got a pipeline of stuff that they've released.
Yeah, of course.
Because I know it maybe would have sped up, because I think you got on about the CGI thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a sequel to The Rescuers. It was the first Disney movie to be full CGI.
Oh, really? Or the Rescuers Down Under?
I'm sure that was the first one. It was all computer generated.
Go for it.
So maybe it was just the timing. They couldn't.
Yeah. See, I always get confused when they're like the first computer generated one, because like I feel like everyone's automatic one is like Toy Story. Do you know what I mean? Like
I think that was the first 3D.
Right. Okay. Cool.
That was the first of that, like the 3D style.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, man, I love the 2D ones. Anyway, we've done it again. Who's your worst guy whose hairline's receding?
I've got the cat.
I've got that
It's a
fucking bat.
Big spoiled kitty. Does get a comeuppance, so it's all good.
You leave that cat alone. I've got that fucking bat.
Yeah.
Fidget used to give me the absolute fear. Absolute fear.
He's scarier than Rattigan.
Than Rattigan,
Yeah.
100%.
Like, as I said, he's in all the big scenes and he's always fucking... He's always got a scare in him.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that bat.
Yeah, fuck that bat. Did you have anybody for who's in a different movie?
It's not really a person in it, but I'm going to go with, like, the Robot Queen.
Okay.
Because, I mean, fucking Robot Queen.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a movie where a mouse try to take down a rat baddie.
Yeah.
That, but a Robot Queen. Fuck off.
Hi, come on, Rattigan.
I do like they don't call it a robot. Is that a toy, isn't it? Because he's obviously Big Flaversham's a toy maker, but that's the only thing that's really out of place in this is the fact that they've got robots.
Yeah.
I'm fucking clutching at straws there, but that's 100%. Probably the closest I can go.
100%, because I was trying to be like, oh, what other film could I see Dawson in? What other film could I see this one in? And it's like, it's an hour 15 cartoon, guys. Like, it's not... I'm going to say it's not that deep. We've still literally sat for about half an hour.
Yeah. I think the difference is with Dawson and Basil and that, you have seen them in other films called Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
So you can't say they're in a different movie when...
I've seen it.
They're just the animal variations of...
Sherlock
fucking
Watson.
Sherlock.
Yeah, of course.
Like, all the characters are all variations of people.
Yeah,
like,
man.
And so, unless Sherlock's got a Robot Queen, then I'm not taking it back. Fuck that Robot Queen.
Yeah, fuck that Robot Queen, you're
right.
Do you have an I'm out?
How can you do it? By the time the movie's on, it's finished.
Yeah, 100%.
There's not really much you can do about it.
I was trying to think, I was like, is there a bit that I'm like, oh, I'll pass? But no, there's not. The movie's an hour long, and if you don't have the attention span to sit for an hour, like
as I said to you...
Get off TikTok, no, I'm kidding.
As I said to you, the whole part of it, it's all just one big, like, memorable scene, one after another.
Mm-hmm.
There's no filler.
No.
Like, maybe the bit with the bullet, like when he's comparing the bullet, but then you need that to thingy that the rest of the stuff. So
100%. You need to see his mad deduction stuff. Do you know what I mean? Or else you're not getting the Sherlock Holmes vibes. Do you know what I mean?
Like, try and cut it like this, it'd fall apart.
Yeah, 100%.
It wouldn't make sense. But that's what I like. Even like if we keep going on about it, the older ones is that because they're short. Look at Robin Hood.
Oh,
like that's a short film, but
yeah, man.
So
Class.
they have to get it all the story in like an hour and 20 or something.
Yeah,
so
man.
That's what I miss is that there's no 10-minute big monologues where he's going to do this and that, is it? We're going to do it, let's go do it.
Yeah.
Cool. That's all you need.
Yeah, 100%. Kids movies don't have a right to be any longer than 2 hours. Do you know what I mean? Like 2 hours is too long. Like for a kid, like I think 2 hours is too long for a kid's movie. But
I mean, maybe it's just different that. I mean, it can be different in the fact that what kid's got the attention span to sit
for 2 hours? Yeah, man.
Like it is too long, and a lot of the stuff's going to go over their head. Maybe they're just making it for the adults.
Yeah.
So they're not
bored.
Got the cinema concern that's them that's going to pay it.
100%.
So I don't know.
I mean,
need to find it.
We don't have kids. We just have nieces and nephews, and I've seen Moana more than I think I've seen. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you're a parent, like, poor man out for our sisters, man, but like, you're watching the same movie multiple times. Do you know what I mean? Like, it better be good. Do you know what I mean? Like, could you imagine? Like, could you imagine if like they hated like Frozen or you know?
Especially with Disney Plus. Shout out to Disney Plus. He's a sponsor, please.
100%.
Give us money.
Money, please.
Everything's so easily accessible now.
Yeah. 100%.
Like you could watch it all when. As you say, you can watch it a million times.
Yeah, totally. Well, that's it. So my mum has our Disney Plus account for when the kids come up, and I always love seeing what they've been watching when the kids have been up, and I'm like, you are ruining my algorithm, guys.
Aye.
But it did.
Oh, too right.
Anyway, that's been us this week for Basil, Great Mouse Detective. If you enjoyed this one, we'll do more animated movies. We just kind of figured, like, we've done loads of horror, we've done loads of action. What's like the one thing we've not done? And in the nicest way possible, you're not going to do a romance movie with me unless it's like 4 Weddings for a Funeral or something like that. You like that one?
I think we ended up doing too much horror.
Yeah.
So we'll try and leave off that and try and do different stuff now.
Yeah, because you and me have the real problem of like, we love horror movies, so everyone else will love
everybody
them too.
Everyone needs to hear our shit on it.
Yeah, it's like, no, let's
we change our direction.
Yeah, 100%. So I might put up another vote actually on Instagram just to see what kind of movie you want to see next.
Yeah.
And if you give us the genre, we pick the film, which could go either or.
That seems fair, right?
Yeah, it could go either or in their favour. Do you know what I mean? They'll pick romance and we'll hit out with like fucking. Sorry, I was going to say Titanic there. I know you're not going to do it, but please do Titanic with me.
It's too long a movie.
No, it's not.
Oh, Titanic's a good movie. How get we?
Oh my god, don't you threaten me with a good time. Anyway, so I'll put a poll over on our Instagram and we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Alright again.
Alright again.